Today, Mom and I went to the Willow Inn for a karaoke night starting at about 6 p.m. These chips are from a bag that an older man who I'm friends with gave me while Mom and I were at the Willow Inn. I believe that by that point I had already sung one or two of the karaoke songs I sung that night, of which I technically sung a total of 4. Though the first 3 I intended to sing, I ended up singing. They were first something I've already done, which was Soak Up the Sun by Sheryl Crow, which is about, in my opinion, being grateful for your current circumstances. And the fact that you ultimately have the final control over your life in general. Then I ended up singing songs that I either haven't sang before or that I don't remember singing before. The second song I sang was... It ended up being a song that the DJ host played in between people singing. It was Baby What a Big Surprise by Chicago. I chose to sing it, though I think I misspelled both Chicago and what I ended up writing for the song name, which was just Big Surprise. Still, I enjoyed singing it because it ended up being something that I enjoyed listening to, so I decided to sing it. Then the third song I sang for the night was Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. The fourth song I intended to sing was my staple, Suddenly Seymour by Ashman Howard from the movie Little Shop of Horrors. But the DJ host either forgot that I put that request in, or there were at that moment too many people who had submitted requests. Either way, instead of that song, I ended up singing with a group of singers that I think primarily consisted of Mom and her friends. Time for Me to Fly by REO Speedwagon. I'm not sure if I got the name of the artist exactly right, but it's close enough to be recognizable. I enjoyed singing those songs. Earlier, right before that man gave that bag of chips, I think something makes me think that he works at the Willow Inn based on what I've observed. I think I recall seeing him behind the counter at least a few times. One of Mom's friends a female gave us some of the chicken wings she ordered. She said that she wanted just a half portion anyway, and that she wasn't going to eat them. Yeah, I don't think she was interested in even taking them home, so ultimately I accepted them so they wouldn't be thrown away and wasted. Yeah, I was quite thankful for that. The food at the Willow Inn is pretty good. It's not on the same level as BTB's, but it's still good. I think it was after my first song, Gonna Soak Up the Sun by Sheryl Crow, that I got an order of, I believe, chicken tenders with fries. And I got 2 sauces with it, barbecue and something they call boss sauce. Though they initially forgot about the sauces I got, so I went up to the bar area to be told that they put the barbecue sauce under the chicken tenders, and then despite digging through everything, I couldn't find the boss sauce, so I then went back up to the bar area in order to ask where it was, and it turns out they forgot that, so they prepared some boss sauce for me. Apologized, it was more than fine. I just wanted to get the boss sauce so I could dip that and the barbecue sauce into the chicken tenders and the fries, although I emphasized on dipping the chicken tenders into the sauce rather than the fries. since it's better to have barbecue and boss sauce with chicken tenders than French fries. The French fries, it's generally better to have those plain. The sauce adds more enjoyment to the chicken tenders than it does to the fries. This is an order of fried pretzel sticks that I got from the bar area. At the same time, Mom got some taco logs. This was so we could have something to eat later. Besides the sushi that we've currently got in the fridge and whatnot. It turns out they put quite a bit of salt on these deep fried pretzel sticks, or maybe just pretzel sticks at this point. I only recall having a total of 3 standard drinks, the last of which during the last hour of the karaoke night for the most part was a lemon drop martini that one of Mom's friends got earlier. The earlier 2 drinks could just be described as getting something sweet and fruity. I think they both had pineapple juice in them. First one was just pineapple juice and grape-flavored vodka. The second, I think, was pineapple juice with orange juice and cranberry juice from what I recall. Yeah, I suggested multiple times the possibility of us going to Wendy's rather than getting something from the Willow Inn as an option for having something to eat for later. Though Mom didn't want to go because the nearest Wendy's to us is still out of the way for us. Still, these are pretty good. The suggestion of getting Wendy's was fueled partially by the fact that a large chili from Wendy's is only 250 calories, whereas for this stuff, I don't think they have the nutritional information posted anywhere. So you don't really know. And yes, as usual, in between karaoke songs and my food coming, I worked on the styrofoam drawing that I started at the Nub and did more work on at Pin Chasers. Relatively early on today, I pinched my hand I got it in between a nip point that was created by the relative looseness of the seat I'm currently sitting on. It has since been tightened, even though I haven't told Mom about this injury. I assume that it's basically a bruise with burst capillaries and that it'll heal on its own. I pinched the skin of my hand between the seat and the top of one of the chair's legs. And this occurred because I grabbed the seat from one of its front corners in order to move the seat closer to the table. I initially thought that I had cut myself. I went into the downstairs bathroom and applied both lotionized soap, hand sanitizer, and warm water, basically making the water as warm as I could tolerate without fear that prolonged exposure would result in burning my hand. Like I said, I initially thought it was either a cut or I had ripped my skin up a bit, but no, it turns out I had just burst capillaries. It hurt for some time, maybe about for half an hour to maybe just 15 minutes. But now it doesn't hurt at all. I think it only really hurts if, at first after it stopped hurting on its own, it only hurt if I touched it, then only if I applied pressure to it, and gradually that's been reducing. So like I said, I'm not sure if I wasn't sure throughout the day if I should tell my mom or not, since I assume that this is going to heal on its own. And I still have perfectly fine use of this hand. I ended up pulling an all-nighter. Stayed up till about 7 in the morning. Then Mom had me sit around here, only I was at this seat rather than the one I'm at now. This seat right here, for the most part. I think it was within the relative early hours that I finished the Big Ears chocolate bunny that I got for Easter. Mom had me in the morning sit here in case she needed help from me. And supposedly it's because I'm good at understanding the options that automated help centers tend to give you. You know, when you call tech support and it's like, for example, for general inquiries, please press 1. For inquiries into X problem, please press 2. For inquiries into Y problem, please press 3. That sort of thing. Though these automated help center sort of things may be a bit monotonous, but they do always lead you to a person who can help you with whatever problem you're having. In Mom's case, I would say it took about half an hour. But the man who answered was able to guide Mom through to making some adjustments to the modem's connections to both the cable box and the router in order to both enable this TV to play and for Mom's phone to get connected to our new and improved internet. I am very grateful for how much better Mom's internet now is. And I saw through a Facebook post while at the Willow Inn that it turns out we'll be saving some money. The money we'll be able to put toward either food or Sharpie markers and styrofoam. Whatever feels best in a given situation. I, for the most part, basically ended up sitting in this chair for about half an hour, not really doing anything, since my phone was used to call Spectrum tech support, and Mom had her phone on basically for troubleshooting purposes. The only reason I went back up to my room was so I could check and make sure that as Mom made the necessary adjustments to the modem's connections, that my laptop would stay connected to our new internet. And at first it seemed like it got disconnected, but I correctly assumed that was because Mom was making adjustments. I think I ended up falling asleep around 8 in the morning. Woke up around 12:30ish in the afternoon. And it turns out that, once the adjustments were done, I was back on my computer. This laptop was back to being connected to our new and improved internet. At first, I could only really get the website YouTube and for Affinity to respond. Those IP addresses, those websites, but then I managed to fix that by switching from our Netgear internet network to the 5G version of that same network, essentially. From that point on, every single website was able to respond. And it was around 2:45 p.m. When I had that personal DiGiorno's pepperoni pizza that Mom microwaved for me. It was delicious. Oh, and I followed up washing out this by taking one of those plastic water things you fill up with water and then put in the freezer so that it then turns into ice. I put that on this and at times applied some pressure in order to reduce swelling. And I'm not sure how much difference it made since I did that after washing it out with soap, hand sanitizer, and warm water. Although the first time I tried to put on the hand sanitizer, I missed and either hit the curtain or a wall. Within the downstairs bathroom. Right before Mom and I went to the Willow Inn, I made a decision to add some Sharpie markers that were in a plastic bag to that canvas bag that I ultimately brought with me to the Willow Inn. So I would have markers for working on that styrofoam drawing in between my turns. And the thing is, that decision only really netted me one additional black Sharpie marker, which worked fine for me. That additional black Sharpie marker, which I got from a brief periods of working on that styrofoam drawing at home before Mom and I went to the Willow Inn. It worked pretty well. I was able to color in the back of that styrofoam drawing person's hair. Although by that point, that relatively new Sharpie marker was starting to dry out a bit, but it still worked out well. And while at the Willow Inn, I did some more research to think about exactly what I wanted to do. I decided not to do something different in terms of the jacket, although maybe I'll still give it a plaid design. We'll see.